Inside the last 23 minutes of the SportsMax Zone on this Tuesday, we are back turning our attention now to track and field. The North American, Central American and Caribbean Athletic Association, NACAC, says this year's Carifta Games in Bermuda have been rescheduled to run from the 2nd of July to the 4th. The event has traditionally been held, as you know, over the Easter weekend. Now, the president of NACAC, Mike Sands, said this in a statement this week. Time is running out and the situation is not improving globally. The NACAC family, the Carifta family, is affected. We took a decision at council level to do a survey with membership to determine the best course of action. There were several options for a date change and we ultimately decided on July 2nd to 4th. President of the Bermuda National Athletics Association, Donna Rayner, says her team has no issue with a new date. But first Vice President of the J3As, Ian Forbes, says there are concerns over whether the games will clash with external exams and cause problems for student athletes. Now, Mike Sands joins us this afternoon to talk about the implications of the new date for the games. Mike Sands, welcome to the SportsMax Zone. It's great to have you on our show, sir.
Thank you. It's always a pleasure to have me. Thank you, Lon.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. I gather that the council meeting that made the decision happened on Thursday night?
That's correct. We had a council meeting on Thursday, a regular council meeting, and that was a part of the agenda.
Yeah, okay. How much of a consensus did you get? Because, you know, we are hearing some rippling sounds coming out that the date might not be suitable for some athletes.
Well, we have 31 members. There's 36 members, obviously, overall.
Yes.
But the Carifta family consists of about 29, 30 members. And we took a survey and we had the full response of the membership. And it was about 60% of the members that determined that those dates were suitable for them. And we wanted to do that through the survey because we did not want to take a unilateral decision as the executive council. Instead, we wanted the membership to be involved. And so our decision was based on the will and the wishes of the majority of the members that took part in the survey, which was all the membership, and about 60% overwhelmingly supported the change in date to the 2nd, the 4th of July. There were other 35, 40% that wanted a week or two sooner.
Yeah, or you would accept that you said the majority, and it is the majority because the mathematics tell you it's a majority, but not an overwhelming majority, which I think would have been better for you, wouldn't you think?
Well, you always would want unanimous if it comes right down to it, but you realize, you know, that the COVID is affecting all of us in a different way. We're all in the same storm, but in a different boat. And so at the end of the day, we look at what is best for the majority of the persons, and I know we have to go with the majority because we put it to them, and that is the wish of the membership.
Yeah, I saw a Nassau Guardian report this morning that suggested, Mike Sands, that you are fairly optimistic, I think cautiously optimistic was the term used, that all of these major events will happen this year in spite of the COVID-19 pandemic. There's a NACAC Under-23 Championship as well as the Carifta Games and of course the big one in Tokyo.
Well, yeah, my phrase is cautious optimism because I think we all realize that we're in a place that we don't like to be, and it's not dictated by anything other than the circumstances that the world finds itself in. And so we continue to plan with cautious optimism, with the hope that in several months we'll be in a position to have competition resume with some level of normalcy. I think I'm also a realist to know that we may not be able to do it to the extent to which we want to do it, but we have to plan. We have to plan for the eventuality. We can't wait until the last minute. We have to plan, and we will continue to plan.
Yeah. Mike, what's your sense of what's happening throughout the region, well, not NACAC overall, but let's say the Caribbean then, because those are the athletes that will be involved in the Carifta Games. Most of the territories are yet to have active competition, and a lot of the Caribbean athletes have started to see action in US collegiate meets, but not right here in the region. Is that something worrying for you?
Well, like I said, we're always concerned what is happening in our area, in our region. Some members obviously are having competition. Others have been shut down. I think I understand that Jamaica started something as an example, and they had to put everything on hold. And so what this does now is it causes the coaches in particular and the athletes, it causes the coaches to now have to think a little bit more outside the box to the extent to which that they have to keep the athletes as motivated as possible so that they don't lose interest. Because it has been a very, very challenging time for all of us, right? and the athletes are eager to compete. I'm sure the coaches are eager to have the athletes compete, and we as the administrators also want to see competition take place. So the coaches themselves have a very, very critical role to play, and all other stakeholders, to keep our young people motivated and incentivized to continue their training, because you don't want them to have what we call sightless training. And so at the end of the day, it has to be, a situation where we're all working in this together and hoping for the best.
Yeah, there was a December meeting in Jamaica, but a couple of January meetings were cancelled because the government didn't give the green light for them to be contested in the COVID-19 pandemic because the numbers are still pretty high. What's been happening in the Bahamas? Have you been having meets there locally, domestically?
Actually, we have had about 2 meets already for the season, under very strict health protocols, and we're continuing to work that on the protocol. And I encourage all others to do likewise. And again, the wish that we have for Carifta, this is why I say cautious optimism, because notwithstanding what we at the NACAC level and the Carifta athletes and family members and stakeholders want to do, we must be guided by the health authority. So our decision, our wish, and our desire obviously does not supersede any authority regulations. And so why I say cautious optimism is the fact that the Bermuda authorities will be the ultimate determiner to what extent the Carifta Games can be hosted. I can tell you that the president of Bermuda, along with her LOC, are in constant communication with their authorities, the Ministry of Health, the Ministry of National Security, the Ministry of Sport, and all those, right? And so we will be guided by that. This is why I say I have cautious optimism. So we're not doing this in a bubble. We're doing this by cooperation and understanding with the authorities.
Mike Sands, always a pleasure talking to you on the SportsMax Zone, and we'll be in touch because this is a critical year for all of us in sport.
It is, and thank you. Just let me say real quickly that I encourage all those under the sound of my voice to continue to adhering to the policies and the guidelines being established, because together we will be the ones to make this happen, and at some point this too shall pass. So I just want to encourage all to continue doing the proper thing and encourage those with whom we come in contact with to take the proper decisions and the proper protections so we can get out of this sooner than later.
Thanks a lot, Mike. An outstanding administrator out of the Bahamas, and in his young days, pretty solid sprinter, 400-meter man for the Bahamas as well. So George and Mariah, you heard him use the term a couple of times, cautiously optimistic, because no one can say for certain what will be happening on the 2nd to the 4th of July, which are the new dates for the Carifta Games, but he's hoping that things could be in place and the meet could go on.
And I feel like in this situation particularly, they would have to constantly say cautiously optimistic, because you remember last year, 3 weeks before the meet, everything was in full swing. Bermuda, they were ready to go. And it's only 3 weeks before that it was called off. So I think, just based on the situation and the times that we are living in, like, you have to continue preparing, just like what we're doing for the Olympics, without knowing, what will happen closer to the event.
GD?
Somehow I don't see it happening. I'm not optimistic at all, given the factors at play. And it's not just to have the meet over the July 2, 3, and 4.
Yeah.
Because the participants would have had to be certain from some time before that, yes, we are going to go to Carifta. So given the lead time that you would need, and this is the difficulty with keeping events, especially events across borders, you're inviting guests, it's not a local thing. So I'm not optimistic at all. I know that the last year's opportunity, I see this year's going the same way. I don't think it'll happen.
Yeah, well, we'll see what happens in the coming months, because as Mike Sands correctly pointed out, it's not the sporting associations that will make these decisions, but the government health authorities and the ministries that will have a huge part to play in these decisions. This is the SportsMax Zone. Coming up on Wednesday, we have a major discussion about the best Test cricket series of all time. The India-Australia 4-test series that just ended was a tremendous series, and that is what triggered our decision to put this one on the table. Mikey Holding, iconic West Indies fast bowler, to be among our guests talking about this topic. Of course, cricket will be on the channel a lot over the coming months. England's tour of India, the 4th of February to the 28th of March. You can look out for that on the Home of Champions, as well as the Abu Dhabi T10 League, where former SportsMax Zone presenter Alex Jordan will be on the commentary team. So we look forward to the Abu Dhabi T10 tournament. coming up on SportsMax starting January 28. Back with more of The Zone after this.